Atomic Heart. A game that tricked me more than all these scammers that call me every Saturday. Like one Saint Man once said, it played me like a fool. I had no expectations of it and honestly wasn't even waiting for it to come out. I thought that it's gonna be a mediocre game with pretty trailers and no substance, basing my opinion on the fact that the executive of Monthfish is a talented marketing specialist, but not a game developer, and also on the amount of crunches people in the company complained about. I expected that this game, based on my personal experience in my lovely country, is another attempt to grab as much money as possible by selling a bad crafted product. From the game itself, I expected some weak lore and some D-tier gameplay, and well, I can't express how happy I am to state that I was wrong. The game takes place in an alternative reality where the USSR has a scientific breakthrough by inventing a thing they call polymer. Due to that breakthrough, the Soviet Union is able to automatize most of their daily routine and later is able to make implants for humans to control these machines wirelessly. Fast forward a bit and the whole world is using this technology. And now USSR is planning to connect all the participating countries, both humans and robots, to a worldwide net called Collective. But some things go wrong and now these robots are on a rampage, killing every living being they encounter. This malfunction happens in one city, and our task is to stop it and prevent the news about it from spreading worldwide. The world itself looks like what people in the 20th century would have imagined when they thought about our future. On one side we still have wooden huts and robots that are cleaning them on the other. There are old-fashioned cars and then delivery drones right next to them. We also have some old cartoons that people on the internet already complained about, and an old music, which is actually not that old to be in the game, but due to some future waves technology, it's already there. Now that we know a bit about the world, let me tell you about the gameplay part. Here's you, and here are enemies. Go shoot them. You have 3 ways to deal damage to them, excluding stealth, which is the slowest of them. Firstly, you have guns with bullets. Everyone knows and loves them. Secondly, you have a melee approach.
He just fucking dodged it.
Lastly, you have your energy. There are special abilities and some guns that use this energy meter of yours. Some of these abilities are fun to use and their upgrade system almost makes sense sometimes. You're also forced to swap between your options as your inventory space is limited and you can't have too much of everything at once. That includes ammunition. You get blueprints for upgrading your guns through completing bunkers or dungeons if you may. They consist of some enemies and different puzzles, the difficulty of which is the most random-ass thing you could think of. I don't know, maybe I'm just dumb, but some of these puzzles took me a lot more than the others. You can also see what you can get from any dungeon before going there, so if you don't want to use some particular weapon, you're not forced to go there. Oh, and I love the fact that you can disassemble your guns and get every crafting resource back. Same goes to refunding your abilities. It gives you much more freedom and encourages you to try new stuff. I think that was one of the best choices in the game design they could have done. I would also like to speak about the quest progression. Let's assume you have a quest to go through that door. Most of the times, in order to do that, you'll be forced to go around the complex and gather keys to open it. Not 1, not 2, 4. 4 keys. The problem here is that it happened several times in the game, making you spend much more time in the same area than you want. To be fair, every single place that contains the item you need almost always has a different thing going on in there. While in this room you have to solve a simple puzzle, in the other you'll fight a boss or have a short encounter of a sort. I understand that it was made to prolong the story, but it makes everything you do feel less impactful. I can't say that there isn't enough types of enemies, although having a couple more types of robots would have been nice. But the big bosses are almost always something else. I suggest not buying this game if you're a console player, as sometimes it might get really hard for you to follow the quick movements of some of the enemies. Overall, gameplay wise, it sometimes might feel like Atomic Heart doesn't know what it wants to be. The slow stealth mechanic and not so quick melee combat goes toes to toes with fast shooting masses of robots or dealing with really quick enemies. Unfortunately, I don't believe that this side of the game can be polished by a few patches. All we can do now is hope that developers grow and reflect on their mistakes. Also, it is important to mention that I haven't encountered almost any bugs, like 0, except for the vending machine glitch when you get locked in this menu, and the dead bodies behaving wacky behind the camera. Putting these minor bugs aside, when was the last time we got a game that was polished on release? We had Hogwarts recently, yes. What else? That's what I thought. People may have crunched a lot, but hey, at least we got a playable game, right? If I were to straightforwardly compare different aspects of the game to other ones, just like any professional reviewer, I'd say it like that. Special abilities and the world setting itself strongly reminds you of Bioshock. Shooting feels almost like Wolfenstein. World is semi-open like in Dishonored. Resource management reminds you of Prey or Resident Evil, and your glove reminds you of the bracelet from Forspoken. Okay, that might be a bit too much, but you can still see the millennial writing that uses the formula more swear words, more funny, that is being used in both this game and Forspoken. If you want to know more about the topic, I'll give you a link in the description to the smart guy that explains how this sort of writing shows in video games.
You fucked in the head?
Okay, now that we somewhat know what that game is like, how I, as a Russian person, feel about this first grand Russian project in the video gaming industry. It's really hard not to go deep into politics, but you should know that most of my relatives lived in the times of USSR and are still great people. I don't feel disgusted towards communism, as I've never experienced it, and it doesn't tell me in my history books about all the evil deeds that were happening there. But even if it did tell me, I'm honestly not good at history, so let's not judge each other too much, okay? Also, fun fact, you know how it goes nowadays that we are being blocked from many services, both from in and outside, like Meta, Netflix, partially TikTok, and so on? It also applies to video games and many foreign publishers. I've briefly mentioned it in my Hogwarts video, but you know what's funny? Imagine a game being developed in your country that publishes worldwide on Steam. Surely you as a citizen of that country will be able to buy it from there as well, right? Instead, your country offers you to buy it from a brand new game launcher that has so many good games and also you get my point. I've had to go through some trouble to get it. I didn't buy it from this launcher though. Speaking about my feelings about the game itself, it actually broke my brain. I used to separate English and Russian as much as I can just for me not to accidentally mix up the words while streaming, but listening to these songs I've heard years ago and looking at Russian banners left me really confused at times. It's nice though. I honestly am honored that my country finally made some product that the whole world was talking about. Being a good marketing specialist and putting two hot robo women in most of the trailers really paid off, I guess. If I were to give it a score, I'd probably give it like a 6.5 to 7. And this would also be the same score for Hogwarts Legacy. Yes, my system is strict. I'm glad Atomic Heart was better than it could have been. I don't think I have anything else to share on the topic, so if you enjoyed the video, make sure to sub and like. Bye.
Yeah, but Russia is bad and you're also bad because you're Russian. I actually hate that country.
Okay.